I'm pleased to say I'm joined by the two-time Players' Championship semi-finalist Ricardo Pietreczko. Thanks for the time, Ricardo. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you.
Thanks for your time, and we're talking in the middle of a busy week for you. The Euro Tour coming up this weekend. You've just had 3 days in Hildesheim for two Players' Championships, the Euro Tour qualifiers. What have you been up to Wednesday and today, Thursday, in between? Is it rest and a bit of practice?
Volle Woche gehabt. Erst Players Championship, dann European Tour kommt jetzt. Und was hast du jetzt in der Zwischenzeit, also gestern und heute gemacht? Trainiert, relaxed?
Ich habe mich halt an Bord, ich habe mein Board hier im Hotel aufgehangen. Halt ein bisschen stressig im Moment, aber ja, hab dann im Hotel ein bisschen gespielt.
Okay, so he said it's a little bit busy for him, but he has his board with him and he put it up in his hotel room and basically was in the hotel room relaxing and practicing a bit.
On Monday, you made your second Players' Championship semi-final, beating Johnny Clayton and Ross Smith on the way. How pleased were you with that run?
Ja, war sehr, sehr froh. Ja, aber es geht halt immer weiter. Ich muss halt noch irgendwie gucken, dass ich unter die ersten 64 komme.
Okay, it was really nice to beat like two well-known and successful players, but in the end it were also just two games and still he has to carry on to keep under the top 64 in the end of this year.
Well, let's rewind to the start for you in darts. And I was looking at your website. It says you've been passionate about darts since 2010. So when and how did you first discover darts?
Meine ersten Darts habe ich 2010.
Wie es war, die ersten Darts, wie du dazu gekommen bist?
Ja, das war durch meine Eltern. Die haben halt mir irgendwann mal ein Bordenzimmer gehängt und war halt ein schönes Gefühl, da mal vor der Schule, nach der Schule immer zu werfen.
Okay, so he came into darts with his parents and one day they just put up a dartboard in his room and then he was playing before school, after school and started to enjoy it.
We've seen darts has become very popular in Germany over the last 10 or so years, but when you first started playing, what was the dart scene like where you are? Was there a lot of opportunities to play?
Also, du hast vor 10 Jahren, wie du angefangen hast, in den letzten 10 Jahren hat sich die Szene ja stark verändert. Wie war das am Anfang? Gab es überhaupt die Möglichkeit für Turniere oder wie war das da?
Ja, durch den BDV kann man halt ziemlich viel spielen. Da hätte man BDV, DDV durch die ganzen Verbände. Und ja, auch E-Dart war halt ziemlich verbreitet. Aber ich habe davon jetzt von diesem Boom eigentlich nicht wirklich was erlebt, sag ich mal.
There were already some possibilities. We had different ranking tournaments in our city, in Bavaria and in Germany in general. So there were the possibility to play and to compete with others. And especially in the electronic darts, there were already a lot of tournaments and he just picked up everything that he could. But in principle, he didn't really realize a lot of this change and evolvement of the darting scene because it's still it's still the same amount of tournaments, maybe a bit more, but he's just looking for them and trying to play as much as he can.
Well, looking back on your first years playing darts, what are the memories or highlights that you remember the most from that time? Was there any wins or titles that meant a lot to you during those early years?
Naja, hauptsächlich das in Japan ist mir halt...
In den ersten Jahren.
Achso, bei den ersten Jahren. Achso, ja, das war... Ja, also wirklich Erfolge oder sowas konnte ich dann noch nicht wirklich. Meine ersten DDV-Turniere, die ich halt irgendwie mal mitgespielt habe, ein bisschen weitergekommen bin, aber sonst nicht wirklich.
There were no specific success in particular. It was just proceeding for the first time to the last 16 in a tournament or playing the first time a quarterfinal in a tournament, but nothing special or not a really big important success.
Well, let's get on to one of your first deep runs then, and that was in the Super League 2015, the German qualifying event for Ali Pali. You got to the semi-finals. How much did you take away from that experience?
Das Super League Halbfinale, inwieweit hat dir das weitergeholfen oder was hast du da Erfahrungen draus gezogen?
Nee, das war natürlich sehr, 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 ja, ja auch gut für mich, für meine Entwicklung, vor allen Dingen auch gegen die Besten in Deutschland zu spielen. Halt. Das hat mir schon sehr, sehr weitergeholfen.
It was really good for his level of darts to further improve, because it's always important to play like against the best players you have in your country, and that will help you in improving your own game.
Well, after that, you got the opportunity to represent your country a few times in the Nations Cup, the WDF Europe Cup, the WDF World Cup. What was that moment like, putting on the shirt for the first time to play for Germany?
Was war das für Gefühle, als du das erste Mal das deutsche Shirt angezogen hast?
Ja, das war von Anfang an war das eigentlich was Besonderes, gerade auch im Four Nations Cup, gerade auch, weil ich da halt auch in meinem Einzel das Halbfinale erreicht habe, knapp gegen Wesley Harps verloren habe. Und ja, nee, das war schon sehr, 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 sehr ein schönes Gefühl.
It was a really special and a really nice feeling, especially because when you put it on for the first time, it was in a we call it Four Nations tournament, where Luxembourg, Belgium, Netherlands and Germany are involved, and there he already made it to the semi-finals, and that was the first time he had the shirt, and then of course he was proud to wear it, especially in Japan, where he was really successful.
Yeah, I've got to get on to that run in Japan, the WDF World Cup 2017. You make it all the way to the semi-finals of the men's singles. What do you remember from that run?
Ich muss sagen, das war meine erste wirkliche Erfahrung mit diesem Profisport, sage ich jetzt mal. Das war halt doch schon sehr, sehr schön, auch da bis ins Halbfinale zu kommen. Und am Ende gegen den späteren Finalisten, ne, der hat er gar nicht gewonnen, nee. Ja, gut, aber in einem sehr guten Spiel dann im Halbfinale verloren zu haben, war schon ein gutes Gefühl.
Okay, so it was a really nice feeling for him, especially to proceed to the semi-finals in this tournament. And for him, this was like the first time that he was in touch with dart as a professional sport. And it was also really special to play on that level and to play against the other professional dart players.
Well, the following year, we see you go to Q School for the first time, and that year, 2018, you also make your European Tour debut out in Riesa. How special was it getting to play on the stage in the PDC for the first time?
Das war schon sehr aufregend auf jeden Fall. Für das erste Mal auf der Bühne, das war schon sehr, sehr aufregend und eine Erfahrung, die ich nicht missen will.
Obviously, he was very exciting about that, but also a bit nervous being like on the PDC stage for the first time. But it was definitely a very important step in his career and a moment he will never miss.
A little while after that, we have the pandemic, and it's a long break from in-person darts. What was that time like for you? Did you take a break from playing, or did you play a lot at home and online?
Während Corona gab es keinen In-Person. Hast du da Pause gemacht oder weitergespielt?
Nein, ich habe tatsächlich bis 12 Stunden am Tag mindestens gespielt. Und ja, eigentlich die ganze Zeit. Ich habe gegessen, geschlafen, Dart gespielt, die ganze Zeit rund um die Uhr eigentlich.
Okay, so he was saying that he actually played more than ever before, because basically he had to be at home. So there were days where he played 12 hours in a day, just eating, sleeping and playing darts. If I may add this, my personal opinion is like he practiced almost every day at least, let's say 7-8 hours. And that was actually the step that brought him to reaching a tour conference, playing at that level where he played then at the upcoming Challenge Tour events and the two following schools.
Wow, yeah, the practice definitely paid off, and 2021 we see the Challenge Tour, that split between the UK and Europe, and you make your debut that year, getting to 5 quarterfinals. Was having the events in Germany what persuaded you to play on the Challenge Tour that year, and how much did you learn from playing on the tour that year?
Hast du das erste Mal dann damit gespielt, weil es in Deutschland war und es angenehmer war, und was hast du davon gelernt?
Ich glaube, in dem Jahr wäre ich auch tatsächlich nach England geflogen für die Challenge Tour. War jetzt für mich ein Vorteil, dass es natürlich in Deutschland war. Aber für mich war das auch so eine Erfahrung, die ich halt auch gerade für die Q-School sehr gut verarbeiten konnte, sage ich jetzt mal. Und das war halt, ja.
Okay. So it was definitely beneficial that the Challenge Tour was held in Germany as well, because you have less traveling and less cost. But especially in this year and following the 2021 Q School and seeing that he can actually compete at the very top level, at least outside the tour card holders, he probably would have flew to England as well to get this as an additional experiment and to focus on the next Q School.
Well, let's get on to Q School last year, and you enter at the first stage, you win through on the first day, you've then got a couple of days off, and the second stage you make the last 8 on the first day, then the final day you secure that tour card via the Order of Merit. What was that last day of Q School like, the moment when you found out that you'd done enough to get your tour card?
Also wie war der Moment am letzten Tag, wie du realisiert hast, dass du deine Tour card hast?
Nee, das war eine sehr große Erleichterung, vor allem weil mir halt schon vorher welche gratuliert haben, obwohl ich das noch gar nicht wusste, dass ich die überhaupt sicher habe. Und dann musste ich mir erstmal selber am Handy vergewissern, ob ich die wirklich sicher habe. Und ja, dann ist mir halt ein richtigen Stein vom Herzen gegangen.
It was a really, really big relief for him. And actually it was quite funny because directly after the game, some people told him that he actually has won the tour card, but he didn't knew it to that point. So some congratulations and everything, but he didn't knew it. And then he needed to go back to the table and check his phone, check the Order of Merit if it's really true that he really has won it. And then it was a big, big relief that he's finally done his step into the really professional scene.
Good times. Well, my co-host on our podcast, Burton, actually predicted you to win a tour card at Q School last year, so he was happy when you won one. Were you already playing darts full time then, or did you still have a job? How did life change for you after you got your tour card?
Also hast du da noch gearbeitet? Hast du da schon nur Dart gespielt und wie hat sich dein Leben geändert, seitdem du die Tour card hast?
Ich habe vor Corona eigentlich schon wieder gearbeitet, weil ich mich halt komplett aufs Dartspielen konzentrieren wollte. Ist ja am Ende dann auch aufgegangen. Und so wirklich verändert hat sich jetzt mein Leben nicht. Ich fahre halt weiter auf Turniere. Es war ein bisschen größere Turniere von den Namen her, aber so wirklich verändert. Ich bin trotzdem noch jedes Wochenende unterwegs.
So actually he didn't have a job he quitted his job just before the pandemic kicked in. And so basically nothing really changed for him. Just before the pandemic situation, he wanted to focus completely on darts, which actually paid off then, at least 2020 or 2022. His life didn't change a lot. In principle, it's still the same. He's just trying to go on tournaments every weekend. The difference is, of course, he travels to England more often, and the tournaments he plays are different, like higher quality, better players there. But still, he tries to be on a tournament every weekend, no matter if it's a Players' Championship tournament, a major event, or just a very local pub tournament.
After the World Match Play and the summer break for a lot of players, we saw your results improve. You had 2 last 16s, then that first semi-final in October. How much confidence did you take from that run to your first semi-final?
Nach der Pause im World Matchplay hat man danach dann gesehen, dass du besser geworden bist, mit 2-mal letzte 16 und dann im Halbfinale in den Selbstvertrauen hast du daraus gezogen.
Sehr viel, sehr, sehr viel, weil ich halt auch gemerkt habe, dass ich dann halt auch mal so einen guten Run haben kann. Hat man jetzt ja auch in Hildesheim gesehen. Und das bringt mich auch sehr, sehr weiter, weil ich weiß, okay, gut, ich kann auch mal große Namen schlagen.
So his confidence really, really grew because of that situation. Because then he actually realized that before the World Match Play he played well, but still he lost most of the games. But then he realized that he can really compete with basically all the players, also with big names. And that was an experience that was really, really important and was like the next step in his career and really boosted his confidence.
Well, you speak about competing against the best players. A lot of people saw that at the Players' Championship finals at the end of last year. You got in as the number 64 seed and you knocked out the top seed Damon Hetter 6-5 in the first round. What are your memories of that win?
Ja, die Erinnerungen waren eher so ein bisschen verschwommen, weil ich ehrlich sagen muss, dass war halt schönes Gefühl auf der Bühne da zu stehen, auch ihn zu schlagen, aber am Ende musste ich mich ja dann schon auf die nächste Runde konzentrieren sozusagen, weil ich ja immer noch im Turnier und du musst ja gucken, dass du das nächste Spiel dann auch gewinnst.
He doesn't really have like special memories in terms of that win. Obviously, it was nice, first of all, to play on the main stage at a major TV event where you have to qualify and you're not just there because of having a tour card like in the UK Open. Of course, it was nice and was the next step in confidence to beat the number first seed Damon Hatter. But still, after the game, he had to focus on the next game because he tried to go on. So there are not like special memories for that.
Let's get into this year then, because you're up to number 74 in the world, and I'm guessing the main goal for this year, you mentioned it at the start, is to get into that top 64 to keep your tour card. What's that like going into events this year, knowing that you need to get results in order to stay on the tour next year with the card you've got now?
Du hast letztes Jahr im Prinzip nur spielen können, bist jetzt Nummer 74. Trotzdem ist ja dein Ziel, um die Top 64 zu kommen. Wie ist das, wenn du einen gewissen Druck hast und Preisgeld einspielen musst?
Das ist mir eigentlich relativ egal, weil wenn ich die Tourcard wieder verlieren sollte, dann spiele ich halt die Q-School wieder, und wenn ich dann die Tourcard nicht gewinne über die Q-School, dann spiele ich halt die Challenge Tour wieder. Also das ist für mich überhaupt kein Druck.
He said he doesn't really feel a lot of pressure in terms of that. Of course, it's a bit different because he obviously would like to keep his tour card. But in case this doesn't work and he loses his tour card, it's still okay. He knows he had to go on to play Q-School again. Maybe it works out to defend the tour card. If not, he will play the Challenge Tour. There are a lot of now top players who had their tour card, lost them, regained them. So, of course, there's a bit of pressure, but he looks kind of relaxed into the future of the next 8 months.
Good to hear. Well, a few more before we let you go, and we should touch on your nickname, Pikachu. You walk out to the Pokemon theme song as well. I'm guessing that you are a Pokemon fan, and was that the inspiration behind the nickname and choice of song?
Bist du ein Pokémon-Fan und war das die Motivation oder wo kommt der Spitzname?
Nee, die Geschichte kennst du ja. Das war's ja.
Pokémon-Fan, ja oder nein?
Ja, ich habe halt bei meinem Bruder damals öfters auf dem Gameboy gespielt, aber nie wirklich mich damit wirklich beschäftigt.
Okay. He actually played the Pokemon games like every kid did in the past, but he wasn't really a big fan of Pokemon. The story of his nickname is a bit different actually. When he was on a tournament, someone shouted or tried to shout his last name through the venue. So Pietreczko, and then someone else kind of understood what again is your name? Is it Pikachu? And then that's where the nickname came from. Actually, it's not a bit related to Pokemon, but not because of being a big fan.
That's fair enough. Well, just lastly, let's look ahead then, and you make your European Tour return after 3 years actually this weekend in Leverkusen. The draw came out earlier today. You've got Gert Nenches in the first round, but overall, how excited are you to be back playing in front of your home crowd again this weekend?
Also wie glücklich bist du wieder vor heimischem Publikum zu spielen nach 3 Jahren, oder?
Sehr glücklich, gerade auch, weil ich halt letztes Jahr mich halt für kein einziges European Tour Event qualifiziert habe. Und ja, ich bin schon sehr, sehr glücklich, auch wieder vor meinem Publikum oder vor dem Publikum zu spielen in Deutschland.
He's really, really happy making his return on the European Tour, especially because it's in Germany, because obviously it's always the best to play in front of your home crowd. And it's in particular very exciting for him because he missed every European Tour event last year. So that was kind of a big relief that he could manage to qualify for some European Tour events this year. And obviously it's also important in terms of prize money and getting under the top 64 and maybe to Ali Pelli.
Definitely is. Well, Ricardo, it's a pleasure to chat to you. We appreciate you taking out the time to have a chat with us, and your translator as well. Really appreciate your help as well, and we wish you all the best for not just this weekend but the rest of the year as well.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully my English was good enough.